When the coffee shop was destroyed by the explosion, I didn't hesitate. I immediately rushed inside to rescue my childhood friend, Robert. He saw my injured face and began to cry uncontrollably. "Oh, Emily," he said, "if it weren't for me, you wouldn't be scarred like this." He swore that if he ever betrayed me, he would suffer a terrible fate. However, on the day before our wedding, I discovered his messages with my closest friend. I felt like I couldn't go on. "Olivia, I love you," he had written. "Once I get my hands on her inheritance, we can run away together." My friend, Olivia, even sent me a link to Robert's secret online profile. The videos he posted were too awful to watch. He had captioned them, "Look at her hideous face like a ghost." If I could relive my life, I would have let him perish. Unexpectedly, life gave me a chance to do just that. This time, I didn't save him, as he had wished. I was relaxing on the sofa, sending out wedding invitations. Nearby, Robert's phone kept ringing. "Robert, your phone is ringing." I called out twice, but he couldn't hear me from the kitchen, where he was trying to make ice. I struggled to get up, reaching for my cane. Because of the explosion 2 years earlier, my movements were slow. Besides the facial disfigurement, I had metal rods in my legs, making it very hard to move. I picked up the phone and was shocked to see a message from Olivia, my best friend. Robert had initially refused to add Olivia as a contact, saying he wanted to reassure me by not being in contact with other women. I reluctantly opened the message. The conversation I saw was unbelievable. The sweet and caring boyfriend who always treated me so well had spoken of me in such a disgusting way. "I'm tired of pretending to want to marry Emily. I can't take another day of this," he had written. "Olivia, you're the one I truly love. Once I get Emily's inheritance, we'll be out of here. By the way, my dear, I'm coming to see you tonight. Remember to wear those stockings for me?" Why, the pain in my heart was unbearable. How could my boyfriend, the person I had saved at the risk of my own life, talk about me like this? Just the day before, he had knelt down in front of everyone and proposed to me. Trembling, I called Olivia. She laughed maniacally when she heard my questions. "Oh, you found out, Emily? You didn't really believe Robert truly loved you, did you? Look at your face in the mirror. Wake up. I'll show you something good." She sent me the link to an account with Robert's profile picture, but it was one I didn't recognize. I had used Robert's phone before, and all his social media was full of our pictures. After I was injured in the explosion, Robert had been incredibly devoted. As soon as I was released from the hospital, even with my limited mobility, Robert insisted that he was my legs. Wherever I went, he held me tightly, even waiting outside the bathroom while I was inside. To take better care of me, he convinced my parents to let us live together. Robert woke up before 5 every day to prepare breakfast for me, waited for me to wake up, and always made my favorite spicy dishes for dinner, even though he disliked them. He never seemed bothered by my disfigured face. Every few days, he would express his love for me on social media. He would show me screenshots of likes and happily tell me that everyone thought we were a perfect match. I often saw his posts about our daily lives: me chopping vegetables, him cooking, me painting, him posing as a model, me in therapy, him cheering me on. Millions of followers were touched by his unwavering love. I had no regrets about saving him. Our life felt like a dream. But clicking on this unfamiliar account, all the warmth inside me turned to ice. Each video showed me struggling to get out of bed, crying as I looked at my reflection, stumbling and trying to get up. My burned face was especially prominent in these videos. Because of the explosion, the left side of my face was twisted and horrifying, enough to make children cry. Interspersed with these videos were Robert and Olivia's sweet diary entries: climbing mountains to watch the sunrise, surfing at the beach, even feeding pigeons together in Prague. I forced myself to watch each video. Ironically, the one with the most likes was of me in a red dress that Robert had bought me, saying the vibrant color suited me best. But the caption read, "Look at this woman in the red dress, once charming and promiscuous." The comments below were mocking, and some of the profiles looked familiar. Robert's friends who frequently liked our posts. Disgusting. I couldn't eat anything. What truly hurt were Robert's replies. "She saved me by herself. It wasn't my idea. She's the one who insisted on rushing in. Every time I see her face, I feel like throwing up when I get home. It's disgusting. I couldn't help but laugh loudly. Robert came out of the kitchen, and seeing me in tears, his face lit up with joy. But when he saw the phone in my hand, his expression turned to panic. He dropped the dish he was holding and lunged to grab the phone from me. I held on tightly as he tried to wrestle it away, which led to him violently dragging me and throwing me to the ground. The hot soup burned my skin, and the shattered pieces of glass were stained with my blood. With difficulty, I lifted my head to look at him as he carefully examined the phone. Why? I choked out. Robert's movement slowed as he finally turned to face me. He looked down at my disheveled form, and his voice was cold. Yes, you saved me. But I've been with you for 2 whole years. Isn't that enough? Now that you know everything, I don't want to pretend anymore. If you're smart, transfer all your assets to me as compensation for these 2 years. You have no idea how hard it is for me to look at your ghostly face every day. My friends make fun of me behind my back, even asking if I'm scared to sleep next to you. Look at yourself in the mirror. How can you stand to be beside me? If I were you, I would have ended this a long time ago. I've had enough, Emily. I'm grateful, but I can't force myself to have feelings. Honestly, I've often wished I could redo my life. I wish you had never saved me. I shook my head, my nails scratching marks on the floor. Even though I had saved Robert, I never wanted to force him to stay with me forever. If he disliked my appearance, I would have cursed him silently and walked away. My family's wealth and my own abilities were enough to support me without relying on anyone, especially not someone's pity. But he had deceived me with sweet words after my injury, only to say now, I wish you had never saved me if life could start over. You were only nice to me because of my family's money, weren't you? I said. I won't give you a single penny. He sneered. I'm telling you to get out of my house right now. I don't want to see you again. Did you really think you were still the princess of your family and that I had to obey your every word? Robert's face was obscured in the darkness. A chill went down my spine as I watched him approach, feeling an inexplicable fear. My leg throbbed, and standing was nearly impossible. The door opened, and lightning flashed and followed by thunder. My last memory was of a hand reaching out towards me and Robert's icy voice. What you have and what you don't, it's not up to you to decide. No. The next moment, I opened my eyes wide and the scenery around me had changed. I was in front of the coffee shop where Robert and I used to meet during our 4 years at university. I was wearing graduation clothes and holding my diploma. I raised my hand to touch my left cheek. It was smooth and unblemished. Through the glass, I saw Robert sitting by the window, looking at me in disbelief. He suddenly stood up as if wanting to come outside. I realized what was happening. Without thinking, I quickly moved to the side. The impact almost lifted me off the ground, followed by a loud bang. Continuous screams were heard, along with the sound of shattering glass and collapsing debris. Firefighters helped me to a safe place. I looked back at the coffee shop, which was engulfed in black smoke. This time, I wouldn't rush in. I couldn't help but touch my neck, feeling the lingering sensation of Robert's skin. I breathed a sigh of relief. Robert, I can't wait to see how you try to steal my money this time, I thought. Although I only had minor scrapes, the firefighters insisted on taking me to the hospital. My parents, who rushed over after hearing the news, were terrified, checking me all over to make sure I was okay. Emily, why aren't you saying anything? Are you all right? Don't be afraid, your mom and dad are here. Don't worry, honey. The doctor said your injuries are just minor and will heal in a few days, they said. Dad, Mom, I cried, hugging them tightly. I hadn't felt much during the chaos, but seeing my parents made my tears flow. At that moment, I finally realized that the nightmare of my past life was over. My mother told me that the coffee shop staff had caused a gas leak due to improper operation, leading to the explosion. Just like in my past life, 4 people were injured, with Robert being the most seriously hurt and already in the emergency room. How's Robert? I asked. Our families were business partners, and Robert and I had grown up together. Our families had always supported our relationship, knowing us well and believing we were very compatible. He's still in surgery. We don't know how he's doing, my mom said, her voice trembling. I tried to suppress the smile that crept onto my lips and lowered my gaze. Let's go see him. I said, pulling my parents towards the emergency room and walking quickly. My parents thought I was worried about Robert's safety, comforting me as we walked. From afar, I could hear Robert's mother crying. Burns covering 50%? Facial disfigurement and possible amputation? She sobbed. Amputation? That was far worse than what had happened to me. In my previous life, I had rushed in and desperately pulled Robert from the rubble. To protect him, I was hit by falling hot tiles and stones. The tiles disfigured my face and stones shattered my thigh, requiring metal rods in my right leg and causing me to walk with a limp. If Robert were to lose a limb, how could he, such a proud and self-righteous person, bear it? I gently touched my smooth face. Don't smile. No, doctor, please, I thought. If he's amputated, how will my son manage in the future? He's supposed to take over our family's company. I laughed coldly and sighed. If there hadn't been an explosion in my past life, I would have taken over the family business. But because of my disfigurement, which tarnished the company's image, Robert acted so well in front of my parents. They thought he would definitely marry me and treated him as the future heir, even handing over the company's management to him. After managing the company for over a year, Robert ran it at a loss. Stock prices plummeted and there were many customer complaints. Meanwhile, his family's business flourished, taking many of our clients. I remembered a note on his phone. It's good she was in that accident. Otherwise, her family's company wouldn't have fallen into my lap so easily. Before, my parents and friends had always said she was better than me. Our friends would say, I'm not good enough for her, but look at her face now. As I was about to go over, an unexpected voice stopped me. Mrs. Yang, don't be sad. We're here with Robert. He'll be okay. The sweet, gentle voice was Olivia's. The betrayals had already begun. My kind and gentle friend was holding a handkerchief, tenderly wiping away Robert's mother's tears. In my past life, I often complained to Olivia about Robert's late-night activities, and she would comfort me in the same way. I envy your relationship, Emily, but you're too strict. You need to give men some space. Robert is so good to you even after you were so badly injured. You have to trust him. He's just going out with friends for a drink. He's a man. Let him have some fun. Give him more money. Don't embarrass him in front of his friends. At that time, Robert and Olivia were probably laughing together, spending the money I gave him while mocking my foolishness. Robert's mother wiped her tears, deeply touched. Olivia, thank you. When Robert said he wanted to be friends with you, his father and I didn't agree. We still depended on Emily's family's money. We gave Robert a company without a title. We're sorry for how we treated you. So, Robert's parents had known about Olivia for a long time. Their secret relationship was approved by them. And since Olivia was approved to take over the company, they truly deserved to be a family. And I would be happy if I could be with Robert. Besides, Emily is also very good. She is prettier than me, comes from a wealthy family, and can provide more help to Robert, Olivia said, biting her lip and turning away to wipe her eyes. Hearing this, Robert's mother immediately held her. You are such a considerate girl. Compared to you, Emily might be pretty, but what else does she have? Robert often has to cater to her mood and is always under her control. Speaking of Emily, where is she? They said she wasn't seriously injured. Why haven't we seen her yet? My son is so badly injured. Shouldn't she be here immediately? Don't be angry. I heard that Emily also got a scratch, but after applying medicine, she should be here soon, Olivia said. Her words superficially comforting but actually provocative. A scratch? How can that compare to my son's injuries? Why is she fine while my son is disfigured and might lose his leg? It must be her fault. She jinxed him. In my past life, she had held my hand tightly and said, Emily, you saved Robert. We will always be grateful to you. You are our family's savior. Some people are truly hypocritical and always like to blame others. Now, Mrs. Yang didn't care if I was innocent. It didn't matter if I was hurt, but if her son was hurt, that was a different story. My mother was so angry that she was about to rush over, but my father and I held her back. I shook my head, smiled at them, and pulled them away. It's all right. Robert ended up getting his leg amputated. His right leg was amputated below the knee. 3 days later, the hospital reported that Robert had regained consciousness. I put on a new red dress, applied delicate makeup, brought the freshly made chicken soup prepared by the housekeeper, and went to Robert's VIP room. Sounds of things being smashed came from the room, mixed with Robert's weak, furious voice. How is this possible? How could I be so badly injured? No, no, I should be perfectly fine. How could this happen? Robert, please calm down. The doctor said you shouldn't get agitated, his mother said, trying to persuade him gently. Robert, your aunt and I have been taking care of you for 3 days. If something were to happen to you, how could we go on? Unexpectedly, Olivia was quite resilient. Despite Robert being disabled and disfigured, she chose to stay, hoping she could win him over. Her words had a hidden meaning, but Robert wasn't in the right state of mind to understand. Where's Emily? Bring Emily here. I want to see her. I opened the door and walked in. The red dress swayed with my steps, making my fair skin even more radiant. 3 pairs of eyes focused on me, but I acted as if I didn't notice, placing the chicken soup on the nearest table. Why are you so late? You haven't been here while I've been lying in bed for days, and now you don't even say a word of concern. You have no conscience, Emily, Robert said. Before I could say anything, Olivia rushed forward, lecturing me. His mother also stared at me coldly, as if I had ignited her anger. Olivia glanced at Robert on the bed, her eyes red with pity, almost making me feel compassion. How had I never noticed how good she was at acting? I deliberately stood next to Olivia, my perfect makeup contrasting sharply with her tired appearance. As expected, Robert didn't spare Olivia a glance. His eyes were fixed on my red dress. I smiled, a smile that amazed him. Robert, you're finally awake. My prayers must have worked. I carefully observed Robert. This was the first time I had seen him after the accident. Robert, who always presented a refined and gentle image in public, used to look at me with loving eyes and a smile. But now he could only stare at the ceiling. His face and body were covered in bandages. Broken pieces of a mirror lay on the floor, indicating that he knew the extent of his disfigurement. Considering how he was in my past life, it must have been difficult for him to accept. When I spoke, he finally snapped out of it and tried to sit up. But in his weakened state, he accidentally knocked over the chicken soup, spilling it all over himself. Seeing him in such a state, I quickly turned my face away, pinching my thigh to keep from laughing. Emily, why? Why didn't you save me? He glared at me, accusing me sharply. My heart turned cold. In my past life, I saved him out of love, but now he took it for granted. I looked genuinely sad. I really wanted to save you, Robert, but I was injured too and was taken to the hospital. I wiped away non-existent tears. Robert, are you blaming me for not risking my life to save you from an explosion, disfigurement, and broken legs? I looked at him, feigning sadness. You asked me to meet you at the coffee shop to tell me something important. What was it? Robert didn't respond, but continued to stare at me intently as if trying to figure me out. Emily, did you change because you were reborn? This made his mother and Olivia freeze. I pretended to be surprised, widening my eyes. Robert, what's wrong? What do you mean by reborn? What are you talking about? Robert seemed dazed, staring at me. You should have saved me. If you had saved me, I wouldn't have been hurt. Those injuries should be on you, and then I would have taken care of you, and everyone would have been moved by our love. And you would be with me. Yes, in the past life, that's what he did, earning everyone's praise and the full support of my parents, turning his family's small company into a prominent one. And his way of repaying his savior was to plot to steal her wealth, I thought. Robert, are you out of your mind? Why are you talking nonsense? I quickly pressed the emergency button, calling his medical team. After the doctor examined him, it turned out Robert had a minor concussion from being hit by a rock, which might cause some memory problems, but he would recover in a few days. Robert no longer looked at me, holding his head and muttering to himself. Emily didn't reincarnate? Why? Could it be because of me in the end? No, it's not my fault. She didn't give me the money, so why should she stay with a monster like me? If only I had let Emily stay. I regret it. What should I do now? Can I transfer these injuries back to Emily? His words were incomprehensible to others, but I understood them clearly. My resentment almost tore my chest apart. He still fantasized about transferring the damage to me. I touched my rapidly beating heart, gritting my teeth, and pretended to be considerate as I adjusted his blanket. Suddenly, Robert looked up, his eyes full of anticipation, fixed on me. Emily, you love me, don't you? Make a wish. Say you're willing to take on these injuries for me. I promise to treat you well in the future. No matter what you look like, I will love you forever. I slowly exhaled, pretending to be innocent, and gave him a harmless smile. Robert, what are you talking about? Don't worry. Your mom has found the best doctor for you. Even though your right leg has been amputated, you can still live a normal life with a prosthetic leg. His mother rushed up, trying to cover my mouth, but it was too late. My words clearly reached Robert's ears. What are you saying? Amputation? What amputation? Panic made him sit up suddenly, and he peeled back the blanket to see that half of his right leg was missing. How could this happen? Where is my leg? Last time, Emily wasn't amputated. Why was I amputated? No, this isn't right, he roared in horror, waving his hands frantically and pulling out the needles attached to his hands. Emily, you've gone too far. Don't provoke Robert anymore. Robert, don't be sad. I will always be with you. Trust me, Olivia said. Her words were undoubtedly intended to clarify things between them. Olivia was very clever. People naturally crave attention when they are most vulnerable. She wanted to capture Robert's heart and make him acknowledge their relationship. She threw herself at Robert, hugging him tightly. It was quite moving, and she even subtly criticized me, leaving Robert's own mother speechless. I took a step back. Robert had already sunk into his own world of madness. He probably didn't even hear Olivia, let alone feel moved by her. Instead, due to her embrace, he scratched Olivia fiercely a few times. Luckily, he didn't have much strength, so Olivia only had a few red marks on her face. Robert, why did you do that? He didn't mean it. Why did you get so close? She said, trying to defend him, while holding her face in pain, pretending to be generous. No, this isn't real. I'm dreaming. I'll wake up and everything will be fine, Robert said, trying to get out of bed, but he was too weak. He swayed and fell, crashing onto the broken mirror. Ah! Robert screamed in pain. The wound on his leg reopened, and blood mixed with the spilled chicken soup, creating a mess on the floor. Just like how I was back then. Robert! Someone help Robert! What happened to you? Robert's mother screamed in horror. Olivia only knew how to cry loudly. The room was a chaotic mess. It's truly pathetic, Robert, I thought. I watched for a moment, then pressed the emergency button. Robert had been in charge of our company for 2 years, so he knew all the loopholes. Although he was in no state to think clearly now, once he recovered, there was no guarantee he wouldn't try to take advantage of the company again. I couldn't take any chances. I had to completely destroy him. With my parents' support, I joined our company and became my father's special assistant. As the CEO's daughter, I didn't need to be hands-on, but I studied and worked incredibly hard. My determination shocked everyone. My father, trembling with fear, asked me not to overwork and to rest. I smiled and promised to keep working hard. Even the board members praised me, fully acknowledging me as the company's future leader. My efforts paid off as I identified several potential risks within the company. But no matter how tired I was, I always brought the chicken soup the housekeeper prepared and visited Robert in the hospital every day, rain or shine. My mother was frustrated and wanted me to stay home, but I assured her that there was no chance of us getting back together. My father was afraid I would be manipulated, so he arranged for me to meet clients and negotiate contracts during mealtimes. And yes, several handsome and wealthy unmarried men always appeared at the dining table. Are these clients too? I asked, pointing to a spirited young man with 3 earrings. My father puffed up his chest. If you like this type, your mother and I can accept anyone you like as your future husband as long as you stay away from that scumbag, Robert. Seeing the eager smile of the spirited young man, I fled as if my life depended on it. Even my own father didn't want me. I checked my phone and told Robert I would visit him in the ward after 6:30. He replied with a cold emoji. My excellent acting skills convinced him that I hadn't been reborn. After several attempts, he also realized that he couldn't transfer his injuries to me, and his attitude towards me deteriorated rapidly. I arrived at the hospital half an hour early. As for what I did in that half hour, I naturally recorded the touching moments in the ward. As far as I knew, Olivia had been by Robert's side all these days and he was enjoying it. Having two women love him and compete for his attention greatly satisfied his ego. Although Robert had accepted his accident, his temper had worsened. He used to hide his true nature, but now he was reckless. At that moment, he was lying in bed, waiting for Olivia to feed him grapes. I held my phone and carefully recorded this scene. Honestly, I truly admired Olivia. After I was disfigured, Robert never kissed me again. Even during necessary intimacy, he would turn his head away. Looking back, he was full of disgust, but I was too dependent on him to notice. But Olivia was different. With Robert's face covered in bandages, she kissed him without any hesitation. And for those kisses, Olivia always received generous rewards: new designer bags, expensive perfumes, and luxury skincare products. After waiting the appropriate amount of time, I knocked on the ward door twice, loudly. After a 3-second pause, I walked in. Although they had stopped kissing, Olivia was sitting very close to Robert, acting flirtatious and feeding him grapes, then smirking at me triumphantly. I placed the chicken soup on the table, ignoring her provocation. Robert looked slightly embarrassed as he swallowed the grape, then tried to explain to me while Olivia checked his bandages. He coughed lightly, his tone cold and filled with disappointment. "And you? What have you been busy with lately? It's been 2 or 3 days since I last saw you. You're my girlfriend. Shouldn't you be here every day? Are you trying to abandon me because I'm disabled? Let me tell you, I can do just fine without you." As he spoke, he became increasingly agitated. "You think you can rely on your family's money? Wait until I recover and you'll be begging me. You're probably planning to take over our family's wealth again once I'm back on my feet," he sneered. Olivia quickly stood up to comfort him, shooting me a stern look. "I joined the company. You know I'm going to inherit the family business, so I'm learning how to manage it," I said, peeling an orange and handing it to him with a sweet smile. "You joined the company? A girl like you, learning how to run a business?" Robert seemed shocked, pointing at me and shouting, "When you marry me, all you have to do is stay at home and take care of the family." His relationship with Olivia was no longer a secret, and now he was even talking about marrying me. I turned to look at Olivia, who was filled with resentment, pulling on Robert's bedsheet, trembling all over. Robert also noticed her reaction and gave her a warning glance. "After I recover, you can talk to your father about letting me manage the company." "I'll definitely take it to the next level," he said confidently. Watching him, so full of confidence and trying to follow the same path as in my past life, planning to drain our family's wealth again? Dream on. I almost couldn't resist spitting in his face. Robert waved his hand dismissively. "It's just an amputation. With today's technology, getting a prosthetic limb is no different from having a real one." He must have reassured himself many times, but was it really the same? "Don't worry, Robert, you'll find out soon enough. By the way, transfer some money to me. A friend of mine is pregnant and needs an abortion. She needs surgery fees and compensation." Olivia gently pulled Robert aside, and he glanced around before adding, "And Olivia has been taking care of me these past few days. You should compensate her for her hard work, too. Transfer $100,000 to Olivia first. And if that's not enough, I'll let you know." I nodded. "No problem. In 2 days, as long as Olivia is willing to continue taking care of you." 2 days later, Robert's bandages were to be removed. I felt like a little girl, eagerly waiting to open a gift, filled with excitement and joy. I still remembered that day in my previous life. At first, Robert tried to comfort me, but when he saw my half-destroyed face, he screamed in horror and ran out of the room. A few days later, his parents brought him back to see me, but he couldn't even look at me. The nurse, wearing gloves, stood behind Robert. His mother and Olivia stood close, trying to soothe him with gentle words. Robert's father, who had been away on business, finally rushed back. Despite his disheveled appearance, he didn't seem too distressed by Robert's injury. In fact, he seemed quite pleased. I had deliberately asked someone to check his whereabouts, only to hear that his mistress was pregnant and he had sent her to a safe place to give birth. In the past, Robert was fine, and the child wasn't kept. But this time, Mr. Yang made a different choice. The bandage had just been removed when the door was pushed open. A group of 5 or 6 people walked in noisily, all of Robert's close friends. Robert, we heard you're getting your bandages removed today, so we came to cheer you up. Robert, how's your leg? When are you getting discharged? Let's go to that pool. I heard there are some new beauties there. Robert, let's go celebrate at the bar tonight. When you're all healed, you have to treat us. If Robert could have seen their expressions then, his face would have turned dark. Through gritted teeth, he asked, "Who told you I was getting my bandages removed today? Who told you to come here?" The man leading the group paused, then grinned. "Olivia told us. They wanted to see you, but you wouldn't let them." "What's wrong, Robert?" Robert glared fiercely at Olivia, who looked puzzled. On the other hand, I understood perfectly. Robert hadn't told his close friends about his injuries. With such a serious injury and an amputated leg, he was afraid of being laughed at. Having been in a secret relationship with Robert for a year, Olivia was unaware of this. She had no idea how much this seemingly charming man valued his reputation. Before leaving last time, I casually mentioned, should I invite his friends to celebrate? Hearing this, Olivia quickly told everyone, fearing that I would steal her thunder. Today, I dressed elegantly and hid near the door, watching the group of people interact. Bob couldn't tell them to leave since they were all deeply involved in his family affairs. Robert gripped the handles of the wheelchair, his eyes like knives, piercing Olivia, as the nurse began to unwrap the bandages from his head, one loop at a time. As the bandages came off, the atmosphere in the ward turned cold. Those who had been smiling were now frozen in shock. After Olivia's scream, the white bandage fell to the ground. All eyes were fixed on Robert's face. Shocked, fearful, disgusted. Of course, Robert remembered how disfigured I was. Terribly ugly, but not to the extent that would elicit such exaggerated reactions. He hesitated, picked up the mirror, and slowly lifted it to his face. This is my face. In the mirror, he saw his uneven face, with a missing nose and eyebrows. His left cheek was also deformed. This disfigurement was far more severe than what I had experienced. "No, this can't be happening!" Robert smashed the mirror, the glass flying in all directions, injuring some of his friends. "I brought my brothers to see you, and you dare to break a mirror. Get out of here. You're still oozing pus. Is it contagious?" I smiled as I recorded their reactions, then posted the video to a secret account. Get out, all of you," Robert roared, smashing everything in the room. Robert's parents, friends, and Olivia all rushed out, filled with different emotions. Exhausted, Robert clutched his head, gasping for air. How could this happen? Emily's face wasn't this bad. I don't want to look like this. I don't want this ghastly appearance. He kept asking why, but no one answered. I walked over slowly, took Robert's phone, and opened the account where the comments had reached thousands. I gently patted Robert's shoulder as he looked up, confused. I moved the phone in front of his eyes. Look, they're all praising your strength. They hope you recover soon and wish you and Olivia a happy life. My voice was gentle, but the comments were malicious. This man is scarier than Voldemort. I'll have nightmares after seeing this. If I looked like this, I'd jump off a building. Robert, look. Everyone wants you to live well. Robert looked at me, his whole body trembling. Emily, you know? Just like me, you were also reborn, weren't you? What are you talking about, Robert? Why can't I understand? He tried to grab my arm, but I dodged him. Robert, you're disgusting. Don't touch me. I circled the room, rubbing my face. It's a good thing I didn't try to save you, or I would have ended up like you. How could I live like that? Seeing you makes me want to throw up. It's disgusting. I laughed loudly and repeated the word disgusting over and over. Emily, I was wrong. Let's get back together. Let's get married. We can register tomorrow. Robert broke down, trying to stand up, forgetting that his right leg was gone. He fell to the ground, groaning in pain, but I wasn't ready to let him off so easily. Robert, look at your face in the mirror. How repulsive. How dare you ask me to stay with you? But don't be too sad. You still have Olivia, right? You two are so in love. She won't mind your ugly face. I squatted down in front of him, raising his chin with my hand, carefully examining his destroyed face. Robert, do you believe in reincarnation? If you hadn't tried to kill me back then, I might still be living with that ghostly face. As I finished speaking, his eyes widened with horror. You. I grasped his neck, as he had done to me before his rebirth. If I strangle you now, will you still be reborn? Before he could react, I suddenly released him. That would be too easy. I thought you are most suitable in this state now. Emily, forgive me, please. I only love you. It was my temporary madness. I stood up, brushed off my dress, and opened the door. Robert collapsed completely, crying loudly, crawling towards the door in an attempt to stop me. No, Emily, don't leave me, please. I simply turned my head and spat out a despicable insult before closing the door on his cries. I instructed my father to withdraw all funding from Robert's company. Without our support, their financial chain collapsed rapidly, and they declared bankruptcy in less than 2 months. I provided Robert's mother with the address of his father's mistress. Before she became wealthy, she was known for her temper. She took several people with her to the mistress's door, causing a huge scene that became public knowledge. Robert's father, resentful of his wife for ruining things and losing his son, surprisingly testified in favor of the mistress in court, though the judge did not consider it. Robert's mother was sentenced to 3 years in prison for intentional harm. They were all in chaos, and no one cared about Robert, who was still in the hospital. Robert was now someone even the nurses ignored. When things finally calmed down, his father remembered his only son. He took out what little money he had left and fitted Robert with a prosthetic limb. But with the prosthetic, Robert's mobility was extremely limited. He limped with a cane, even worse than before. Due to his disfigurement, Robert almost never went out. If he had to, he would cover his entire face. He became increasingly insecure and sensitive, his mental state extremely fragile. He would get angry at the slightest provocation or if anyone stared at him for too long. Time passed quickly, and it was almost the eve of my wedding, the same day as in my previous life. I sent Robert a special gift. First, I edited together a video of Olivia and Robert being intimate in the hospital and sent it to him. Then, I sent him another video from a fake account. This video was taken in a private room at a bar. Robert's close friend, who had visited him in the hospital, was now shamelessly flirting with Olivia. Olivia was playing hard to get, hugging the man's neck and acting coy. "Honey, what about the purse you promised to buy me last time?" The man pinched Olivia's butt and smirked. "Did you ask Robert for things like this before?" "Don't mention that loser," Olivia said. "I'm telling you, he's a waste of space now." Olivia initiated a kiss with the man. Laughter erupted in the room, and the camera captured the laughing faces of everyone present, all of Robert's good buddies. The last time Robert's name was mentioned was in the headlines. Disabled man with a knife causes 1 death and 5 injuries on the street. Olivia died at the scene. The man from the bar and the others were all injured. Robert was also injured and miraculously survived. His father was disgusted by his son, who kept causing trouble and ultimately disappeared. Just before Robert was to be sentenced to death, I provided a report confirming his mental disorder. I still needed Robert to see firsthand how well I was living, a life he didn't want. I sat in the garden of the psychiatric hospital beside Robert's bed, sipping coffee, watching him caught between life and death. The cool breeze carried a hint of floral fragrance.